That was a pretty long bio. It really should have just said that I am the son of Peggy Ann Rogers, and that would have been sufficient. Oh, it's falling. I'm going to go ahead and set this here. First off, I'd like to thank Michael, Jillian, and Courtney for putting on this amazing event. I'd like to thank the faculty and staff for coming to support us. And I'd like to tell the class of 2017, you all look so beautiful right now from where I'm standing. I've been thinking about what I was going to say to you all for weeks now. It's not every day someone gets an opportunity to address the future leaders of our world. Prolific founders, investors, CEOs, and even heads of state have come through Harvard Square. Now, I thought about trying to be funny, but I figured at first I'd start off by telling you all a truth that so many of you already know. Outside of these ivy-laced walls and outside of this Harvard bubble, Rome is burning. For those who are unfamiliar with this timely tale, legend has it that while a fire destroyed the city of Rome, the Emperor Nero fiddled away on his violin. He was completely unaware of the devastation going on outside of his palace. Over 70% of the city burned down before they were able to stop the flames, carnage, and devastation. My cap and gown looks good now. But believe me, like so many of you under this well-pressed regalia, there are burn marks from my past. I was born and raised below the Mason-Dixon line in the great state of Georgia to a typical blue-collar American household. My mother worked on the line in a manufacturing facility, and my father, as a military veteran, battled with his own demons as he came in and out of my life after my parents got divorced. My mother was still able to take care of us comfortably for the first few years after this transition. She would often have to work 2 jobs, but hard work was something my family never shied away from. Everything changed, though, when I came home from school one day to find my aunt's car in the driveway with my mother's. See, my mom was home a bit earlier than normal, and my aunt didn't live with us, so I knew something was wrong. Still in my adolescent years, I hopped off the school bus, walked up the driveway, and I slowly opened the door to my home. I could hear the sound of silence. I'll never forget what happened next. As I walked up the stairs, the first thing I noticed was the shame and brokenness in my mother's eyes. Still a kid at the time, her expression was foreign to me. Her eyes red and her face damp. My hero looked defeated. She would later go on to tell me that the job she had faithfully given her time to for over 2 decades was being moved to a lower-cost economy. Her entire facility was being restructured. She was just a number on someone's spreadsheet. This was my first exposure to capitalism. It was not my friend, and if anything, it was the villain. It was a gasoline-toting arsonist, and my family wasn't the only home it lay flame to. Homes across the Southern Bible Belt and the Northern Rust Belt were hit hard, but many of us in these states still chose to believe in the benefits of free trade and globalization. We still chose to believe in the business and policy leaders who told us that the fire would stop. The problem is, like so many of us know now, the water never came. Now look, the benefits of globalization have been incredible. Millions of people from around the world have been pulled out of poverty, and this is something as leaders we should be proud of. But at the same time, millions of people have stagnated and slowly floated backwards into a never-ending cycle of lower pay, longer hours, and a more uncertain future. Now look, people from where all of us are from, they have lost trust in us as business leaders, community advocates, and public servants. But despite the trust that's been lost, and after meeting so many of you, you all give me hope. It's people like Lori Henderson from the Harvard Graduate School of Education who give me hope. As an educator, she's dedicated her life to teaching and innovating in the classroom. She is going to change millions of lives through the multiplying effect of a good education. It's people like Christina Joseph from the Harvard Law School who give me hope. As a public defender, she's decided to dedicate her life to fighting for those who can't afford to fight for themselves. Her drive and fearlessness is going to inject a breath of fresh air into so many of our poor brothers and sisters who are suffocating under the weight of an uneven justice system. And it's like my good friend, Adam Bunkin-Deco from the Harvard Business School, who gives me hope. He's a first-generation American from Brooklyn, New York. His parents fled war-torn Uganda to build a better life for their family here in America. After working in the private sector, Adam has decided to dedicate his life to a life of public service, like so many of our classmates in the Kennedy School of Government. He is going to change the world by first impacting those in his local community. And to all of us going into the private sector, we have a huge role to play as well. You all give me hope because I've seen you all ask the right questions and find solutions to business problems that not only make our investors better off, but also our future employees and current communities better off. We will eventually have a seat at the table to make a difference and to speak for those who aren't in the room. They need our voice. The little girl in Michigan with lead in her water needs our voice. The young mother in South Africa without health care for her family needs our voice. And the little black boy in Oakland, California, just moments away from Silicon Valley, but without the resources to grasp that opportunity, needs our voice. We must speak for those who are not in the room. We must use the resources afforded to us by this incredible university to help move the needle on tough problems around the world and in our own backyard. Not just to help others, but to help ourselves. Because if we don't put out the fire that surrounds us, we will all burn together. Class of 2017, as future Harvard graduates, we will be pushed towards many to become masters of the universe. If we choose to chase this dangerously hubris guidepost, it will lead many of us down a path of confusion and destruction. We will fight tooth and nail to build resumes that live up to some artificial standard of greatness. And our fear of failure will fuel our lust for perfection and our yearning for acceptance. Instead of building a resume, we should find the courage to build a life of impact on those around us, a life of substance to those closest to us, and a life of purpose. Purpose beyond financial models, marketing plans, and strategy presentations. Purpose that puts people over profit and generosity over greed, and a purpose that builds on the sacrifice so many of our parents, loved ones, and ancestors have made to help us get here. For without them, there is no way we'd be in these seats today. Now you're probably wondering, what happened to my mother? Through grit, hard work, and prayer to a listening God, my mom rebuilt our family brick by brick, and she is still my hero. To her and all of the parents in the crowd, you have sacrificed so much, and the least we can do is give you a round of applause. Now, in closing, my fellow classmates, we only get one shot at this fragile journey called life. And when we lay in that hospital bed for the very last time, holding on to the warmth of our loved ones, we won't be judged as professionals or as Harvard graduates, but as people. This week, we will graduate from this historic institution. Many of us with the highest of honors, like my good friend Emeka, and some of us just by the skin of our teeth. I won't make any shout-outs on that one. My hope is that we will take not only the knowledge that comes from poring over hundreds of cases and assignments, but we will take the perspective that comes from meeting hundreds of unique individuals here with us today and on our prospective campuses. We see the fire that surrounds us, and we are uniquely positioned to help put it out. So I challenge you, let's pick up a bucket of water and get to work on rebuilding our communities. Thank you, and God bless.